Alright, all you moviegoers out there, welcome back to the Indy Radio Arcade. And yeah, this whole show is probably going to be themed after Killer Cross and Steven Segal as an early heads up after what happened during my birthday with him answering a very important question that we may have you answer by the end of the show. Yeah, fan interaction. But besides that to look forward to, folks, I think it's time for us to open up another fresh tin film for another very special edition of the 93 MR. And seeing the fact that we hit a third of an episode series under a number, we once again go to the wall of movies to pick a very special film, and we decided to go with none other than Under Siege 2: Dark Territory. A movie that involves a train, Steven Segal, and also involves one of the girls who was actually involved in the movie Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery. And besides all of those factoids, folks, the meat and potatoes of this said film is after Casey Ryback, a retired cook or retired U.S. SEAL who went on to become a cook, decides to go to his brother's funeral, James Ryback, along with his daughter, Sarah Ryback, would end up running into a series of problems thanks to mercenaries taking over the train while having assistance of a giant oversized military-grade satellite called Razor that they would use to actually help Middle Eastern terrorists destroy radioactive reactors for a large sum of money. Well over $1 billion to be precise. And with all those meat and potatoes out of the way without explaining too much plot of this said film, what did I love about this said film? Well, for starters, folks, is the fact of the train in this said film. And the reason why we love the train so much, because it was actually featured during a game we played back in the day called Train Simulator 2007. And this train is known as a GPL-7. Or a GP7L. I forgot, they switched the letters around in the game for this said train, and the train in this movie costs well over $500 to repaint for this said film, which was pretty cool to figure that out. And also, the special effects in this film was another thing we loved so much, including the big oversized train scene that they had near the end of this said film, that according to what they said during the home video movie version of this, that they actually used a big set of Lionel trains to do that end sequence action scene that was involved on the bridge. And another thing, and it's completely unrelated to the movie but had to do with the trailer, and the thing that sold me on this movie had to have been Dan Lafontaine, the man who's done the movie trailer voice for just about every single major action movie in the 90s, was another thing that really did sell me to this movie. And for those who don't know who this guy is, if you ever see a comedian that goes by the name of Pablo Francisco, who does his little act of Little Tortilla Boy, that's where he got the voice from that guy there, who does just about every single major voiceover that you could possibly imagine in the 90s for action movies, and I do believe for America's Most Wanted for the longest amount of time too. May he rest in peace, and definitely a legend in the world of voiceovers for action movies. The guy's great. And another thing that I loved about this film is the fact of the cast that was featured during this film, which not only included Steven Segal, Catherine Heige, Eric Bosane, who plays a lot of real good bad guys in films, but you also had Morris Chestnut, who played in this said film, who would go on to be in The Best Man and other cool action movies. Then you also had in this film Peter Green, who is a known bad guy and was also featured in the movie The Rock. But then you also had Jonathan Banks, who went on to be in Breaking Bad, and even Kurtwood Smith, who was the main bad guy in RoboCop and was in the show known as That 70s Show. And to bring things full circle from what we said earlier, folks, Fifi Alqui was the girl who actually played in the movie Austin Powers International Man of Mystery as one of the 60s models featured in this said film. You know, it's a small role, but the fact that she was able to play in that and then play as a mercenary like Sniper in this film, definitely awesome. And one last person I would like to note in this film who is known to play as some form of FBI agent in every film he's ever been in was Bruce McGill. Now, the fact that he's played some form of a police officer in just about every film I could think of is incredible. And I think he was also featured in Rock as well. I could be wrong, but he was featured in several cool different action movies, which was absolutely ridiculous. And according to the maestro, he was featured in Animal House, MacGyver, Law-Abiding Citizen, My Cousin Vinny, Legends of Bagger Vance, Proms, and other movies to be listed on IBM.com. And with all the things that we liked about this film, I think the only thing in the spoiler for this said film that I didn't like, well, besides the giant oversized train crash at the end of this said film, because I'm a big train fanatic and I hate to see a train go to waste like that, but I got a feeling the other thing that I didn't like about this film was the fact that they actually used pieces of the train as bulletproof armor to protect themselves from getting shot by, I think, MP7s or MP9s. I could be wrong with those gun models, but either way, the fact that they were able to use it as makeshift bullet shields, kind of silly, and I don't think it's really possible. I'll have to ask Mythbusters on that one. And with that said, folks, and seeing the fact that we don't know how to review movies along the lines of Siskel and Ebert, or any of those other famous movie reviewers you know out there, we say this. If you want to watch an action flick featuring Steven Segal as a retired Navy SEAL turned cook trying to go to his brother's funeral via a scenic route on a train that was repainted, redesigned, and redone up for a film that features a line that actually features the Twilight Zone in the opening parts of the scenes, then I recommend you go out there and watch that flick. That can be watched under 3 different formats of DVD, VHS, and I do believe digital film as well. And whatever the format is for Apple Watch, because you can watch it on your watch, which still is crazy to me. And I guess with that said, folks, we might as well head back into this music, and when we return, we'll be back with more of the Indie Radio Arcade right after a word from our sponsors. So don't run out of quarters just yet, folks, and stay tuned.